After the Bungles, we rode to Kununurra as our last stop in Western Australia. We set off the next morning, headed for the Northern Territory. It wasn't long before we hit the border and the speed limit went to 130, which on a loaded up Himalayan and DRZ 400 was not ideal, so we stuck closer to 100. We pulled up to Katherine where we spent 2 nights and planned our route up to Darwin. Unfortunately, we didn't end up exploring the Northern Territory really at all. We were in and out within a couple of days. We would have loved to, and we were planning to, go to the national parks and spend some time exploring. But we had something come up that we wanted to just go and organise, so we had to be back in Queensland a bit sooner. From Katherine, we rode 650 kilometres to our next campsite. We pulled into Daly Waters for some fuel and had to get going again, but we would have loved to spend a night or 2 here if we had more time. We spent the night at Three Ways Roadhouse where we got a good pub feed and had some rest for the next 2 big days on the road. The 3 days between Katherine and Townsville we were riding by sunrise and setting up camp as the sun set. Now that we're a little further south and it was winter, these were some of the coldest days and nights of the trip. This first day into Queensland, the road was pretty rough from some flood damage a few months earlier, and it was very hard to see coming with the sun in our eyes so early in the morning. 700 kilometres later, we were at Fountain Springs Rest Area between Mount Isa and Cloncurry, our last campsite before the home-cooked meal and comfy bed waiting for us in Townsville. At 845 kilometres, our final push to Townsville was the biggest riding day of the entire trip. We were going before the sun and didn't pull up until just after dark. I didn't film anything, but we spent about 2 weeks catching up with friends and family and resting before heading down towards the Gold Coast where we would be based for a little bit. Now it was time to head south. This was by far the worst day on the road of our entire trip for dangerous drivers. It is known to be a bad road for this, and we have had plenty of idiots on our trip, but we were still shocked by how bad the truck drivers were on this stretch of road, with multiple trying to run us off the road. We spent the night in Clairview, which was also our second campsite of the trip, so it was nice to come back at the other end. Our last stop was a short stay on my grandma's cattle farm before one last day of riding to the Gold Coast. Now that we were in the Gold Coast, it was time for the Hemi to finally get a bit of love, and I straightened out the dash and any other wonky or broken bits. Unfortunately, the back of the instrument cluster is quite brittle and it cracked when trying to put it back together, but with a bit of epoxy it is now stronger than ever. With the Himi all straightened out, we got going on our next adventure, which we look forward to sharing soon.